Afro-American, they think only of the Negroes in the United States, but they don't realize that 2/3 of Brazil consists of people of African blood, which means they're also Afro-American because Brazil is in South America. And in all of these, many of these countries in South America and Central America, and even in Canada, they are heavily populated with people whose ancestors came from Africa. So when you total up the number of Afro-Americans, real Afro-Americans, in the Western Hemisphere, there are perhaps 100 million. And if these people ever unite among themselves, not only is it necessary for the Afro-Americans in the United States to be organized, but it's also necessary for the Afro-Americans in the Caribbean, or the Afro-Cubans, the Afro-Brazilians. It's necessary for all of them to be organized. And then once they are organized in each place, we have to organize among ourselves so that the Afro-American in the United States will be working in conjunction in a coordinated program with those who are in Cuba, and those in Brazil, and those in Venezuela, and those throughout the Caribbean, and Haiti, and in the West Indian Islands. And in this way, we actually get strength. And it's not an accident that there's no organization existing in the Western Hemisphere that's designed toward that end. It would be a direct threat to imperialism as it really exists, and to colonialism as it exists in the West. And one of the things that's going to help to bring this about is the independence of Africa. And one of the only reasons that we in the West have never organized, we have hated our image and our African image. And because Africa has been in the hands of people who have created an image of Africa that's negative and hateful. And out of Africa, and we become proud of our African blood, our African heritage. And this is what is beginning to make the Africans in the Western Hemisphere today develop more race pride. And as this race pride develops, then it has the tendency to make us want to unite together and work together. And your Western imperialists and colonialists consider this to be a grave threat. More threat than communism or Marxism or socialism or anything else. The Africanism is what they consider to be the real threat.
Where were you when I'm sick? Where were you when I'm drunk? So far sketchy, so far sketchy, kichima, Cyprian Konto Alliance, shoot to kill, Yamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer, brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
I came to give you an address from the political prisoners held captive in the dungeons of the United States. They do not want me to give you this address because they do not want our South African brothers to know that there are black political prisoners here in the United States. Brother, comrade Nelson Mandela, on behalf of my brothers in prison, on behalf of the Puerto Rican nationalistas, on behalf of the Native American political prisoners, and on behalf of the white American political prisoners, I say to you, brother, we love you and we will not give up the fight. 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 Amandla! Amandla!
I've seen Nelson Mandela walk out of prison, and I want to whisper in his ear that I knew down in the bottom of my soul how he must feel. He is a symbol of the triumph of the human spirit over tyranny. The human spirit is the essence of all just laws. And when the spirit and the heart is corrupt, then the laws and the implementation become corrupt. And the only way we can change the society and the laws that constrain us today and that oppress other people because of their sexual orientation or the color of their skin or the fact that they're male or the fact that they're female or the fact that they're Latino or the fact that they're homeless or the fact that they have no money. The only way we can change that is we have to take a position.
Greetings, greetings, greetings to all the brothers and sisters here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Layamiga and Uli, and greetings to all the brothers and sisters and comrades in the wider Caribbean. Whether you're in Grenada or Barbados, whether you're in Jamaica or Belize, whether you're in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands or St. Croix, whether you're in Tortola or Anguilla, whether you're in Antigua or Montserrat, whether you're in St. Vincent or St. Lucia, we say greetings, welcome everyone, you know. And we're here in the beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're giving a shout out to all the brothers and sisters in the diaspora, especially on the continent. This evening, brothers and sisters, we'll be hearing part 2 of the Pan-African wallet. We think it's very important because we want our people, especially here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to get involved in the Pan-African wallet as United Layamigan Cooperative, as we pool our monies together in order to support the Pan-African wallet and to create our own African currency. You know, it's very important. And we're going to lay the groundwork this evening to show you basically how important the Pan-African wallet really is, you know. And this is the sound of Kalonji, the Mau, and I have Brother Jakaya here with us this evening. So before we get right into the program, you know, introduce yourself, Brother Jakaya.
Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari I. Give thanks, like the Honorable Kalonji said, you know, greetings from land of St. Kitts and Nevis, Layamiga, Wali. I'm the Honorable Priest Jermaine, member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. And as the brother said, we are here tonight to reason upon the African wallet and, you know, the importance of investing in such, you know. And, you know, I as a people, we need to build wealth, generational wealth for our communities. So that is what we are attempting to educate the populace about. So give thanks for tuning in and watching from, you know, wherever you're watching from at this time. And greetings to everyone. Blessed love.
Yes, Jakaya. And as we said, brothers and sisters, we're going to lay the groundwork to show you basically the historical documentation why the African wallet is so important and the support and solidarity for the Sahel states, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. So we're going to play a clip here. Basically, this guy is talking about why Africa should not rise.
Before you play the clip, Kalonji, I want to highlight
the first question is a very important question. What makes
a few upcoming events? As we know, we have His Majesty Earthstrong that is coming up on July 23rd, which is next Wednesday. And, you know, we're having an all-inclusive celebration where the Organization of Rastafari in Unity invites you to its Haile Selassie I 133rd Earth Day celebration, Wednesday, July 23rd at Natural Liberty Farm, Nevis, opposite the pottery. There you will have the House of Yehuda, Spax, Ionida Bobo Shanti, Naya Bingi, Theawada, Higher Heights, and documentaries of the life of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, drumming and chanting, reasoning, ital food and drinks, ceremonial fire. For more info, call 869-664-3064, 677-4489, or 668-7026. And also on Saturday, July 26, the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Bobo Shanti, will be also holding celebration of His Imperial Majesty Earth Strong at the McKnight Community Center. And that event will be starting from 12 p.m. midday to 8 p.m. in the evening. Same way we'll have sabbatical service, Nyabingi drumming, and we'll be interacting with the public also, so that is also the events that is upcoming. And at this time also, I would love to put a plug in here for, an event that took place on this Sunday gone, July 13th. It was the Talent Unplugged at the DAT'AHU, and it was honoring the elder from the community by the name of Edith Gums. We had Ras Muntu, who was in attendance also reading poetry. And Rastan Kufa Lion, he released, a new song, so he was also debuting that. And for footage of that, you could go to Bobo in Brooklyn, and you could search for the Talent Unplugged, and you could view, the footage from that event there. Give thanks, Ras Kalonji.
Yes, blessed love, Brother Zakaria, for hearing that information. But as we move forward, we're going to play a clip first in Burkina Faso and the Sahel states, where they're laying the foundation for true Pan-African revolutionary unity. So here we go.
Ibrahim Traoré has announced a bold plan to unite the African continent under one system. He said he wants to create the United States of Africa, where all African countries will come together as one. In his plan, there will be one government system, one currency called Afro money, and one African passport. Ibrahim Traoré has announced a bold plan to unite the African continent under one system. He said he wants to create the United States of Africa, where all African countries will come together as one. In his plan, there will be one government system, one currency called Afro money, and one African passport. Ibrahim Traoré.
Now, brothers and sisters, as you see, the Sahel states is laying the foundation for United Africa. So basically, we're going to play a clip now with this guy, this professor is saying that Africa should not rise, and the exploitation of Africa should be keep going on even for the past 500 years now, where they had us in enslavement. So we're laying the groundwork to show you what is necessary for us to do these things.
Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. Okay? And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. Okay, but this is the opposition that they're fighting. This is what it's about.
So there you had it, brothers and sisters. This professor is showing you basically that Africa should be kept in its position that it is. Now, we're going to play another clip now with Professor Michael Hudson talking about the African debt is in US dollars and how the US government don't have to pay its own debt because it's in its own currency. That's why we're talking about now creating our own currency in terms of supporting the African wallet.
And third world debt different from the American debt. Number one, America is never going to pay its debts. It doesn't have to. Its debts are in its own currency. We can simply print it. The African debt is not in its currency. The African debt is in US dollars. Africa has to earn the US dollars, and the only way it can earn the US dollars is not to be assassinated for growing its own food and becoming independent and doing something that the United States does not like. The principle underlying the foundation of the World Bank, the International Bank for IBRD, research, the World Bank, is that no country should grow its own food. Africa and the third world should only grow export crops. To export, in order to have an oversupply of cocoa and other tropical raw materials, to keep down the price, they must buy their grain from the United States or Europe, so that if they do something that we don't like, we can do what America tried to do to China in the 60s. We can sanction them. We can say, we're going to starve you. We're going to not export any grain to you. So owing their foreign debt in dollars means that they have to somehow sell something that the United States wants, not what they want. I think the most evil organizations in the world today are the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And my book, Super Imperialism, that I wrote in 1972, is all about that.
74, Nigeria was the third largest oil-producing nation in the world. Today, Nigeria does not own its own oil reserves, which is still the third largest in the world, but BP and Shell and Exxon owns all the rights of the oil in Nigeria. They take the oil out of it, and after that they sell it back to the Nigerian government. Who did that? The IMF and the World Bank. These are the Kafirs we're dealing with. Second, making the dollar, whether it is the Australian dollar or the French dollar, or we call them dollars, but we know they call them different currencies, making the currency in the West prevalent as a source of value and eliminating the gold. Because when gold becomes the standard, the countries who have the gold become what? The possessors of the wealth. But they tricked the world and they took the currency and made it the wealth. And so then they took the wealth, paper dollars, and then they took and bought the gold from those countries with paper. So they took the gold and they own it now. All the gold is in Fort Knox and some other places, and they gave those people currency. Then after they gave them the currency, they depreciated the currency through wars. Then they told them now you can borrow more currency, okay, at 20%. And so now they own the country. Devil.
Yes. Again, brothers and sisters, that is the plan of imperialism and fascism and white supremacy. Now, Brother Jakaya, you want to intervene here?
Yes, I would love to input here. I want to start by simplifying a few things. The difference between investing and saving, because we know that we have what we call a bank account, and in your bank account, you deposit money from whatever work you're doing, whether it be self-employed or you're working for an individual, and that is terms of savings. So I think we all in the community have a good idea of what savings are. So I wouldn't really need to further elaborate on that. But investing is the process of allocating capital with the expectations of generating future income or appreciation in value. It involves purchasing assets like stocks, bonds, or real estate with the goal of growing wealth over time. Unlike savings, investing generally involves a higher degree of risk, but also the potential for greater returns. With that said, an investment, in a proper investment, right now, there's I can't remember it right now off the top of my head, but there's a investment firm in the Caribbean that they're just starting up basically, and you could get a 12% return on your dollar. Your savings account in your bank offers you a 2% return on your dollar, meaning at the end of the year, if you have $1 in the bank, you will only have 2 cents at the end of that year. With investment, if you have $1 in investment, in any particular investment with a return of 12%, you'll have $12 at the end of that year, earning you $1 per month, basically. So what I'm trying to say is this. Africa has immense wealth, assets, gold. Gold is an asset that never depreciates in value. Now, if you know about the system of money, you would know where paper money derived from. If you go and you look at some of these old Western movies and put the picture of the robber going into a bank, you always see him coming out with this big bag that he can't really hardly carry. Why? Back in the day, when they had gold as the means of exchange, instead of walking around with your bag of gold, what you would do, what they came up with, is a banking system where you would place that gold inside of that banking system. They would give you what you call a slip, basically, stating, well, say for instance, you have 10 ounces of gold, and you put that 10 ounces of gold with this individual to hold. They will give you a slip stating that you have 10 ounces of gold. Now, for instance, if you need 2 ounces of that gold, you could now return now and say, boom, see, I have the slip here that you gave to me. That is where the paper money came from. When they started to back gold by a promissory note. You understand? And then the promissory note derived into the US dollar. That is where that came from. Now, the problem with it now today in this modern day and age is that, as we know, the US dollar has no backative, has no gold. If we turn to an African currency that is backed by gold, in my intermission, I will go and look up the price of gold, and I will come back and let the public know what the price of gold is at this present time, in this modern era. A couple of years ago, when I was living here in St. Kitts, they had some Cubans that was going around, and they were buying gold on a vast scale. I remember them even approaching myself, asking if I have any gold to sell. So, as we know, certain people in this world here know what's taking place, and certain people are preparing themselves for what is to come. Because Peter Tosh sung and his prophecy in his song talking about the day that the dollar dies is evident in this time. I will pause there for now.
Yeah. Yes, Brother Jakai, you put it so profound, you know. And you see, the reason why we bring this information to our people because they don't understand the ramification of these things and what is actually happening in the world today. You know, we know that our economy is very sluggish at this time, right? And we people don't know the reason why because the politicians them are not giving the masses the proper information why the situation is the way it is. Now, Babylon system is in a serious crisis, brothers and sisters. Very, very, very serious. And what is happening is that they're looking in order to reconfigure or reshape the world. Because what happened since the Bretton Woods system came into being, say, after the Second World War, right, is that now capitalism is in a serious crisis. And now, you know, there's other formations coming forward, especially with the BRICS. So I'm going to play a clip here with the President of the United States talking about why BRICS shouldn't come into being because it's a serious threat to America. So I just want our brothers and sisters to listen up because we bring this information to you for you to understand what is happening. So here we go.
Let me get him this quickly just before you get into that.
Because BRICS...
The current price of 1 gram of gold is approximately $107.96 USD. This price can fluctuate slightly throughout the day, so it's best to check a live gold price chart for the most up-to-date information. And this is today's price on gold.
Here we go.
BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. The dollar, you ever hear the expression, dollar is king? The dollar is king. We're going to keep it that way, okay?
Here at Geopolitical Economy Report, we talk a lot about BRICS, the Global South-led organization that was founded by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and has since expanded and now includes 10 member countries and 10 partner countries. I think BRICS is one of the most important organizations in the world today that is helping to build a more multipolar global order. However, if you read the Western media's coverage of BRICS, it is very dismissive and claims that the organization is unimportant. Bloomberg published an article claiming that BRICS is little more than a meaningless acronym. But it seems to me that a lot of this criticism is in fact cope, because we have more and more reports that show that the US government is very afraid of the growth of BRICS, and Donald Trump in particular is terrified of the possibility of BRICS challenging the global dominance of the US dollar. Now, I published another report on the BRICS summit that was held in Brazil in July, and how Trump responded to it very angrily by threatening to hit all BRICS countries with 10% tariffs. But immediately after I released that previous video, Politico published an article citing Trump sources very close to the US president that reveal that Trump is absolutely furious about the expansion of BRICS and its challenging of the US dollar. A former top US official who served as Trump's special envoy to Latin America during his first term as US president, Mauricio Claver-Carone, told Politico that Trump was already very angry at Brazil's left-wing president Lula da Silva, but he said, quote, BRICS tipped the scale, end quote. The success of the summit in Rio de Janeiro infuriated Trump, and Steve Bannon, who previously served as the CEO of Trump's presidential campaign in 2016, and then he was Trump's chief strategist during his first term as president, Steve Bannon said, quote, you can tell the president is pissed every time he looks at the BRICS de-dollarization effort, end quote. So, in other words, this is a clear example of how BRICS is not just a meaningless acronym, as Bloomberg claimed. The US president is constantly losing sleep over the expansion of BRICS and the fact that it's challenging the global dominance of the US dollar. In fact, Trump went on an angry televised rant during a meeting with his cabinet at the White House. And what Trump said was so contradictory because he claimed that BRICS is not a serious threat. But then a second later, he says that BRICS is trying to destroy the dollar, and he threatened to hit BRICS with more and more tariffs. Listen to this very strange, angry rant that Trump delivered here.
That's right, they have to pay 10% if they're in BRICS. Because BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. And that's okay if they want to play that game, but I can play that game too. So anybody that's in BRICS is getting a 10% charge.
Is that immediate, sir? Or is
Yeah,
that
pretty soon.
if they engage in some behavior?
Well, if they're a member of BRICS, they're going to have to pay 10% tariff just for that one thing. And they won't be a member long. I thought BRICS was, I said this about a year ago, and it largely broke up. But, there are a couple that hang around, but I thought it largely broke up. BRICS is not, in my opinion, not a serious threat. But what they're trying to do is destroy the dollar so that another country can take over and be the standard. And we're not going to lose the standard at any time. If you have a smart president, you will never lose the standard. If you have a stupid president like the last one, you would lose the standard. You wouldn't have the dollar as you. And if we lost the world standard dollar, that would be like losing a war, a major world war. We would not be the same country any longer. We're not going to let that happen. The dollar, you ever hear the expression, dollar is king? The dollar is king. We're going to keep it that way, okay?
This narrative that we hear from Trump and other US government officials and the
Now, brothers and sisters, they had the President of the United States basically saying that the dollar is king, and if there's another currency that threatens the dollar, it's like losing a war. Now, Africans need their own currency, and that's what we're talking about here. That's why we're talking about the Pan-African wallet. You see what I'm saying? So, basically what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is that it's time for us now, as the Sahel states come forward, to lay the groundwork now for real Pan-African unity and our own, you understand, currency, so that we could chant our own course. Because the powers that be, the white supremacists, the imperialist forces, they don't want us to be independent of them. Now imagine this. France have the 4th largest reserve of gold, and they don't have one gold mine in France. All the natural resources, you understand what we are talking about, is on the continent of Africa, And as we move forward, brothers and sisters, we're going to show you the importance why we need to have our own African currency so that we could chant our own course to be independent of these vultures. So, at this present time, I'd like Brother Jakaya to come forward.
Yes, greetings again. Just want to break certain things down and give an explanation about what is BRICS, because you might hear the terminology and not really familiar with it. So BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprising 10 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. The idea of a BRICS like group can be traced back to Russian Foreign Minister Primakov and to the two forums, IRIC and BSA. Now as you heard there, even within that little reading of the explanation of BRICS, it is countries, as we could see some of these countries here right now, even Iran, as we know, they're in conflict with so-called Israel state. And as you know, Russia is also in conflict with what that place is?
Ukraine.
So you could see you know, some of the reasons, underlying reasons why, you know, you could see the opposing factors and the opposing sides. You know, as you hear Donald Trump just said here, you know, he really has no respect, you know, for such countries coming under such banner, such grouping, you know, to control their own destiny, you know. And it is important for I to definitely do that, you know. Generational wealth is something that black people need to really start to harness and think about, what we're going to leave for future offsprings. And, you know, do they have to go through the same plights and ordeals that we are going through right now in this present moment, you know? So the mindset of individuals need to be rearranged. We need to rearrange the way we think about our future, the way we think about certain things in this society, and stop being blinded by, you know, certain things that are smoke screens put up there just for your entertainments and your likes, and to comfort, you know, just that lower self, that lower chakra self of yourself. You know what I mean? So with these edification, with these knowledge, with these word sound that we are, you know, dispersing over the airwaves, you know, they should be harnessing and growing within hearts and minds to say, like, yeah, this is what we really need to be thinking on, you know, and coming in one unison, especially as a community, you know, to do such, you know, because the bigger we come together, is the more dollars we will have. The more dollars you have is the more that you could be investing. The more investment you have, the more wealth you have, is the more respect you have as a nation. Give thanks.
Yes, Brother Jackiah. Now I want to explain to our people, especially here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the OECS and the way the Caribbean CARICOM. Now, our currency will be backed up by our natural resources. The coin will be made with pure gold. One Africa coin will be equivalent to 20 US dollars. Now, what we are saying basically now, in the OECS, 20 US dollars is approximately 54 EC dollars. So what we are saying now is that if our people, you know, join the United Liamegan Cooperative, right, where basically we just invest 20 US dollars, 54 EC dollars, you understand, in the Pan-African wallet. You know, and we'll explain the different aspects of the Pan-African wallet. But what we are saying now, if, let's say, approximately, say, 200 of us put up 54 EC dollars or 20 US dollars and invest in the Pan-African wallet, right, as a group, as a collective, that will help to boost the gold reserves in the Sahel states and in Burkina Faso and Niger and Mali in particular. Now, the Pan-African wallet, support the Pan-African movement, join the digital revolution empowering Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali by registering and purchasing Pan-African coins. You know, it's a digital app that you could download on your phone. But basically, I'm going to give you an outline of what the Pan-African Wallet is really all about. Get the Pan-African Wallet on Android, download our official Android app, and manage your digital wallet on the go, right? Now, basically, if you join the United Lion Megan Cooperative, we could send you the information to download the Pan-African Wallet on your phone. So you could basically see what is going. Everything is transparent. African economic prosperity. Support local economy. Now, this is different aspects of the Pan-African Wallet. African economic prosperity. Support local economy and the fight for liberation from global economic control. Purchasing and transacting with the Pan-African coin helps strengthen the local economy and independence. Using our platform, you can be liberated from oppressive monetary control. Have a simple interface for sending and receiving Pan-African coins. Support African nations. United for Progress. Revenue generated from the Pan-African coin is strategically invested in gold-backed currency, sustainable agriculture, equitable ownership, Sahel Alliance support, building a self-sustainable economy. The Pan-African Wallet Initiative creates a virtuous economic cycle that supports wealth creation, job opportunities, and resource sovereignty. Gold-backed value. Revenue from coin sales funds mining, buying and storing gold, creating a stable reserve that backs the Pan-African coin, ensuring value independence from foreign currency fluctuations. Sustainable agriculture. Now, these are different aspects that when you invest in the Pan-African Wallet, these are the different aspects that the Pan-African Wallet and be engaging in order to attain all these different aspects that the Pan-African Wallet is all about. Investment in local farming creates food security, empowerment, and a marketplace where goods can be purchased with the Pan-African coin, establishing a citizen-controlled monetary flow. Industrial growth. Developing self-sustainable industries create products that can be purchased with the Pan-African coin, building economic independence and reducing reliance on external markets. Community-centered impact. The coin revenue powers a transformative approach to community development and wealth distribution. Equitable ownership. Citizens receive equal share in enterprises created through coin investment, ensuring fair wealth distribution across communities. That's why we are talking about doing it as a collective. So when you join the United Lion Megan Cooperative, this is the advantage that we have when we do it as a collective and as a unit, not just as individuals. Sahel Alliance support. Revenue helps fund security initiatives that protect communities and create the stability needed for economic development. Humanitarian initiative, supporting vital humanitarian projects across the Sahel region, addressing immediate needs while building long-term resilience. Now, when we invest in the Pan-African Wallet as a collective with the United Lion Megan Cooperative, in the future we could borrow money from the Pan-African Wallet to develop locally here in the Federation different projects in agriculture, in building sustainable industries, You know, a variety of things, whatever we want to invest in terms now, you know, that the Federation now is engaged in developing the cannabis industry, you know, and so much things we could get money now to invest, whether it's in medical marijuana or in the industrial aspect, you understand, of developing the marijuana industry here as a collective, because now the United Layer Megan Cooperative, we could invest money in these different aspects instead of going to say in the country, instead of going to say the IMF or the World Bank. Join the movement. Be part of the Pan-African Economic Revolution. We could create an account, right, as a collective when we join the United Layer Megan Cooperative. Support the Pan-African movement. Join the digital revolution empowering Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, and Africans basically all around the world. You see? So this is very important because the final goal of supporting the Pan-African wallet, right, is in the final analysis to get our own currency. Rising from the sands of economic colonialism, the Pan-African coin represents our collective journey towards economic sovereignty. With each transaction, we build a future of self-determination, prosperity for our people. So basically, that is an overview basically of what the Pan-African wallet is all about. So we bring this information into file this evening to show you that the importance of supporting the Pan-African wallet is very important, because building on this, with this solid foundation, you know, the possibilities are endless, brothers and sisters. So we are saying, join the Pan-African wallet, the movement supporting economic sovereignty and the Pan-African unity in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, and throughout the global African diaspora. Give thanks. One love. Brother Jakaya, you could take it from there.
Blessed love. There's two things, you know, that you read there that come into mind while you was reading. And the first thing I will touch on is sustainable agriculture. Now, you're never too old to learn new things, and you know the sky is the limit. You know, every day, you know, I attend myself onto a higher learning of knowledge and stuff like that. I learned recently that there is a big difference between food sovereignty and food security. Food sovereignty is basically when a country provides for itself, and any byproduct from like a potato, they make their own potato chips or whatever. Food security is what we have today, when we have boats coming in, and you have a supermarket, and you have a flour boat, and you have a rice boat. That is known as food security. Now, these things are from a governmental standpoint also, and what the government chooses to do. If you choose to have that food sovereignty, what you will undertake or, you know, seem to implement is the fact that you will empower your agriculture sector, the agriculture department. You would have multiple tractors available to harrow and plow lands, instead of what's taking place today, when you had a sugar industry with numerous tractors, you know what I mean, on different estates that could have remained in the country to undertake the food sovereignty of planting food and securing, there's where the word secure now comes in, securing the people that is in your land and diminishing your import bill. That is food security. Food sovereignty is what I explained earlier, when a country can sustain itself through agriculture. The importance of supporting one another. That is another thing that you touched on. Support, 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 support. I heard that multiple times throughout the reading. How much do we really support with one another? How much times you may have something that you're undertaking, you have an event, you have something upcoming. How much do people turn out? How much do people from your own community turn out to support that event, that whatever you're putting on or displaying? We have a big problem here in the Federation, and why I feel, as a Rastafari family, I'm not talking general now, I'm talking to Rasta people. Pardon me if you're viewing this and you're not of Rasta faith, but I'm talking specifically now to Rastafari people in general. If we are a conscious community and we are the backbone of consciousness in the communities in whichever island, continent, diaspora, wherever you live in this world, if we are the conscious backbone and the conscious community in these areas, why is it so hard to get support from one another? Why is it so difficult that if you have something selling and a store selling the similar thing, the individual rather go to the store and buy that thing instead of buy that thing from you, the person? Instead of empowering you, the person, they rather to empower an enterprise where they don't even see the board members who sit on the board, nothing. I'm talking about the small man in the street, the small businesses, the Rastafari farms, the Rastafari things that we be putting on, the events. We don't come to these things and support with one another enough. We do it, but we don't do it enough. And enough emphasis needs to be placed on that. That is something that really touches me and angers me within when I see things like this. So pardon me, Kalonji, but I have to touch on it because it is something that I see it is hindering the Rastafari community and holding us back from making a proper impact in society. And I will be blunt with my explanation. Give thanks, Kalonji.
Yeah, blessed love, brother Jakaya. You know, it's not only in the Rastafari community.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just addressing the Rastafari particularly
particular
because
aspect.
I want them to realize that we are the conscious backbone of society. No matter the suit and tie, how much ever, you know this, Kalonji. You could go to a school and get trained. You could get educated. But intelligence is something different. And Rastafari has been displaying intelligence from the offset till now. So we need to make that change, Kalonji. But go ahead.
So true. But like I said, saying that even in the broader community, right? And I keep emphasizing the importance of a national consciousness. You see, because it's in the Rastafari community too. Even though we say we is Ras, right? We don't, just like the ordinary community, we don't understand the importance of what you just emphasized.
See
you
that.
see? Yeah. So, you know, It is a serious thing, my brethren. And that's why we say we need a national consciousness, you know, throughout the whole nation. That is what is affecting us because our people don't know our story, we don't know our history.
That is it.
You know, and as we say, what Granny say, buy local. What Granny say, support your own. What Granny say, self-respect, right? Self-reliance, self-determination. You know, these things are very important. When we say what Granny said, because, you know, coming out of our tradition, where we say that, you know, Granny or you know, our ancestors, they say certain things to us, and only when they gone to the great beyond, as we go to become an adult, we realize that what they were saying was correct.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, so that's why we use the whole aspect of what Granny said, because that's the ancestors speaking to us. So, you know, as you point out these things are very important to our people. So that's why we, in not only in the Rastafari community, but the Black Consciousness movement and the movement for national unity. That's why we are saying now at this present time, my brother, this whole political technology that Babylon has put on us, you know, we are saying that them things bankrupt. You know, them things is obsolete. We are saying basically that in this dispensation where Babylon system is in serious crisis, you know, we are working overtime now to really educate the masses of our people, to show them, look here, what we need is African unity. And we are saying here in the Federation, if you do not want to unite to defend our people's interests here in the Federation of Syncits, the OECS CARICOM, and throughout the whole African diaspora, if you do not want to stand up, defend, and protect black people's interests, then you're against us. You know, we're not in this, I'm a Pam, you're Labour, I'm a Rasta man, and you're Christian, you might be a Muslim, them things done with. We're an African people, you understand? At this particular juncture, I say we're at a crossroads. Babylon is in serious crisis. We are saying now, this is the time for us to consolidate our position, to lay the foundation, as the brothers in the Sahel states are doing, for generations yet unborn. You understand? So when they come into being, the foundation is already laid, so they don't have to go through what our ancestors went through before us and what we are going through at this present time. So we are laying the foundation and groundwork for real and true African liberation. This thing about democracy is a farce. President Aristide was so-called democratically elected twice, you know, in Haiti, you know, and he was removed from power twice. So what is democracy? We are talking about true African liberation. And what we are saying to our people, if you don't want to defend African liberation as black people, then you're against us. And we see so much forces away at this particular time at what is happening in the Sahel states. We are saying what is taking place in the Sahel states is the blueprint for Africans globally. You understand? And that is the model that we are following. You know? So we are saying basically what Granny said, forward ever, backward never, self-reliance, self-respect, and self-determination. Because what we are saying, once we are self-reliant, you know, Babylon don't want us to be self-reliant. They always want us to be dependent on them, because we play the clips where Mr. Trump is saying basically, look, if you want to have your own independence and sovereignty, we'll sanction you. We'll put tariffs on you. All kind of nonsense he's coming up with. And then want to talk about he's going to take Greenland. You know, Canada should come there, the 51st state of the United States. Well, what about the independence of African people, the 50 million of us in the black nation, the Republic of New Africa, right here on the soil of the United States?
Right.
Because you can't be illegal on stolen land. You understand? The United States government is on stolen land that was stolen from the Native American. And liquidate them. And we are saying here now, in this present dispensation, the 50 million Africans in the United States are calling for independence from the United States. So, you could take it from there, Brother Jakaya.
I would just want to play this here real quick.
Real quick before I go to the next slide. Too damn weak. You're too soft. This is the reason why they continue to abuse us the way they do. Because you are so comfortable with your enemy. Oh, I would love to be next to you. What is wrong with you? I'm not carrying on a legacy of cowardice to the next generation. And some of you are going to have to move the hell out the way. Those of you are going to push you out the way. I'm saying it to you now before they go into the next phase of this, because they are going into the next phase of this. So if you are too weak, please just bow out gracefully and say, I'm too weak, brother. I'm going to go ahead and sit over here in my corner. Do not get in our way. I'm saying that very clearly for anyone in this room, because I was passive on the internet with some of our Negro representatives who were pumping up this enemy so much. I was okay trying to send them information, not saying anything about them in public, but when they started to attack your brother, some celebrities and artists and comedians and politicians, I was very calm with them, but my deal is, it's so.
That is the intro to, my videos. That is my motto, basically. That's why I put it as my intro. Don't get in a man way when it comes to positivity. I will move right over you, and that's self-explanatory.
So true, my brother. And, that's what we're talking about, This basically, what we are saying here, that African people at this particular time, is that the forces of oppression, colonialism, neocolonialism, imperialism, and fascism. Because what fascism basically is, brother, right, is that fascism is the open terroristic dictatorship of the most reactionary, most chauvinistic form of finance, capital, and imperialism. All that is showing you now that they're not hiding in terms of what they want to do to us. True. They're coming out and saying it. Eric Prince said basically that we're going to recolonize Africa and African people. There's a French general in France saying the same thing. In the European Union, when they're talking about the Sahel states, the European Union is basically saying is that what is happening in the Sahel states is very important to them. Now imagine, I live in my house. The neighbor live in their house. And saying what is happening in my house is more important to them than me. That's what they're basically saying. And what I'm saying is that these colonizers have no respect for us. True. As a people. You could see it over the years. We've been in bondage, in enslavement for the past 400 to 500 years. And in captivity for the past 1,000 years. So we are saying at this particular juncture, these people want to turn back all the progress that we have made. And we're saying it's not going to happen. But I just bringing this information to our people to let them know what the plan is. These people are serious. And they have the ability in order to do it, because you see what they did recently there in terms of bombing Iran, because they're telling you that Iran should not be able to have a nuclear weapon. No, they're telling us now that we should not be able to be self-sufficient in food. We should not have the awareness or the ability to determine and be self-reliant you know, in terms of being a sovereign people. These are what these people are saying to us. So I'm bringing and showing our people that we're living in serious times. And we are saying that as a conscious and aware of what is taking place, we who are knowledgeable and conscious of these things is not going to sit by and let these things happen. We are saying that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, the Sahel states, is the model that should be accepted by all African people globally in order to be self-sufficient, self-respecting people and determining our destiny based on the rules that we lay down for ourselves. You know what I'm saying, Brother Jakai? So that's basically it. You know, you could take it from there.
Yes. And also, support everything that is being said, and, we can't stress enough the importance of, unity and coming as one people in unison. But not to really, segue from there too much, but I just want to, at this point in time, I know we're coming down, so I want to bring an input in here where, we highlighting several individuals that was, Pan-Africanists, same way, that was actually born in this month. And a few of them, I know of. Several prominent Pan-Africanists were born in July, including Patrice Lumumba on July 2nd and Nelson Mandela on July 18th. Additionally, Malema Karenga was born on July 14th. Patrice Lumumba, born July 2nd, 1925, a Congolese nationalist, a Pan-Africanist. Lumumba was the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He played a key role in the country's independence from Belgium. Nelson Mandela, born July 18, 1918, a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary and politician. Mandela became a global icon of the fight against racial segregation. He served as the first president of South Africa from 94 to 99. That's 1994 to 1999. Malana Karenga, born July 14, 1941, an American cultural nationalist and activist. Karenga created the Pan-African holiday Kwanzaa. He is also known for developing Ngunzo Saba, the seven principles of Kwanzaa. Yes, Kalonji, you have something to bring in there?
No, basically, some information here with Patrice Lumumba as you raised that,
Okay.
And we know basically that the Patrice Lumumba was the first prime minister of the Congo and got independence from Belgium. Now, Brother Patrice Lumumba was brutally assassinated. His body was cut up in, I think, 21 pieces. And recently, Belgium returned his tooth, one of his tooth, you know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying to you is that these things is not new. You know what I mean? They have assassinated so much African leaders who stand up for African dignity and, African independence and sovereignty. I was looking at a clip the other day where this sister was saying that, especially from in the Francophone countries, right? France have killed over 21 African leaders. You understand? And you're highlighting Brother Patrice Lumumba, This is the 100th anniversary of his birth.
Yeah.
2025. So that is very important.
Yeah.
So, like we said to our people, as we bring these information to highlight these things, we are saying now, the brothers in the Sahel states, we are saying if any harm come to any one of them, basically we are saying to the imperialists them, and the fascists and the white supremacists, there will be fire in the sky.
Yeah.
That's all we have to say. And we mean it very, very sincerely. There will be fire in the skies. So we let in Babylon know that any harm come to these brothers and sisters, because there's a lot of sisters out there too. There'll be fire in the skies. What happened to our leadership in the past is not going to happen in this day. As we come on closing time, brothers and sisters, your parting words, Brother Jakaya.
Yes, give thanks. I'm the Honorable Priest Jermaine, here again, representing the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. And give thanks, for Kalonji having me here, saying we're at this time, to even reason upon such, crucial and fundamental topics. And I also want to big up my daughter, who is going to be making 2 years old tomorrow, and then Princess Yashima Bet Akosawa Ma'at. So we give thanks for her. Give thanks for her, Mama Empress also, giving birth to her. And, even to the general public once more, don't forget the upcoming celebration in Nevis. We're looking for that support from the Rastafari community, and also the celebration for the Baba Shanti House, in the McKnight Community Center. And just a little something to add to that, celebration in Nevis. It's going to be an all-inclusive celebration where the different houses coming together. So that's something that's, monumental. I myself going to be doing, some footage from that event. So if one's in the world not, I know you won't be able to make it, one's in St. Kitts and Nevis who probably won't be able to make it, I will definitely have the footage available of that upcoming celebration. Give thanks.
Yes, sir. And don't forget, the 23rd of this month is another anniversary of His Imperial Majesty Earthstrong.
Yes, sir.
So, we highlight these things to let our people know. But as we close off, we say what Granny said, love one another. What Granny said, respect one another. What Granny said, self-respect. What Granny said, self-reliance. What Granny said, self-determination. What Granny said, buy local. What Granny said, support your own. What Granny said, plant weed. What Granny said, if any harm come to the brothers in the Sahel states, there will be fire in the sky. Give thanks, one love. As we end this evening with what Brother Bob Marley said, Africans, we must unite. Africa, unite. Give thanks, one love.